Tunic is a game I've been really excited for ever since it was announced. I love Souls-likes, and its cute aesthetic is one you don't see too often in this kind of game. After Death's Door came out, I was really craving another isometric Souls-like, and Tunic looked like it would fit the bill. The game is slated to come out in March of the next year, or this one depending on when I upload this, or if you're watching this in the future, 2022. They released a demo during the Game Awards, and I finally got around to playing it. Long story short, it's disappointing so far. There are baffling design decisions, annoying controls, and loose floaty combat all wrapped up in an adorable package. I really hope the game gets better before the final game, but I don't necessarily have my hopes up. Let's get the good stuff out of the way, the stuff that makes me want to like this game. It's really pretty. The bloom is way too much, but other than that, it looks really nice. There's no option to change, well, anything, but I'm trusting that'll be changed in the final game. The game is very cute. It looks like a toy diorama. The atmosphere is incredible. The music really heightens the feeling you get playing the game. It's relaxing and enjoyable to just run around and have fun. It doesn't feel like it should be a hard game, but it is, and I love it. The clashing of aesthetic and gameplay feels so right. The music is incredibly atmospheric. It's what you've been hearing in the background this whole time. I'll let you form your own opinions, but I like it a lot. It really strengthens the atmosphere. There are a lot of secrets in the demo alone, and they were genuinely really fun to find. If you want to find them yourself, skip ahead to the time shown on screen. Otherwise, you can stick around. Some of them were a little too obscure, but regardless, it felt good to search all the little details. In the dungeon, there are a couple waterfalls you can go behind, one of which holds one of the 6 gold coins, and the other holds an extra flask. The other gold coins, for those of you who want to find them, but don't mind them being spoiled, are denoted by the back side of the dungeon map that also has the link to Finji's Discord. The first one, from left to right, top to bottom, is reached by walking under the bridge to reach the chest. The second one is inside of the door it shows. The key is near the bottom left of the map in a room of chests in a cave. The third is the waterfall, of course. The fourth is obtained by going through a secret passage behind the waterfall to the left of the stairs. The fifth one is super obscure. I don't even know how exactly the clue correlates, but the 29 means page 29, the page of the map, and it's a hidden passage in the dark portion of the top room of the map. Finally, the last one is found by hitting a secret button by rolling into it just up the ladder near the end of the dungeon. How you're supposed to know about this button is beyond me. You can blow up a wall under the fox statue with a staircase leading under it, and it leads to a room where the coins will be floating above a pit and a secret chest holding the silver key to the other locked door. Through the door is just an alternate path to the end of the demo. Whether or not there's anything different is unknown to me. There's another wall you can blow up down the stairs from the first checkpoint with some peppers behind it. These boost attack power temporarily, I believe. The last secret that I know of is a chest containing 2 more of those ice bombs that you find past the Horde of the Bats. You get it by going through a hidden passageway behind the rubble in the first room of the dungeon past the checkpoint. The quality of a lot of decisions in this game varies widely. For instance, sprinting is initiated by rolling and holding the button down. That would be fine if the sprint wasn't completely stopped by attacking, and if stamina didn't take forever to start restoring. The sprint even completely stops if you use a piggy bank item. This wouldn't be an issue whatsoever if the roll didn't go so far, or if the sprint button wasn't the roll button. For instance, it could be easily mapped to the left stick in, or one of the item buttons could be forgotten. Then there are decisions like how quickly you climb ladders. In most games, ladders are slow portions where you hold up for a while. They're not fun or interesting, but they're prolonged to maintain realism. This game forgoes that entirely, and ladders are ascended and descended in a matter of seconds. Why the ladders are there in the first place when ramps and stairs satisfy the same purpose is beyond me, but I digress. Dark areas are far too dark, but bushes stay cut after death. You need to equip items like the piggy bank to use them. That's ridiculous, and they should definitely be usable right out of the menu. Inconsistencies in the quality of the decisions of this game persist throughout. The first area you're likely to see water is the first dungeon, under the well. There are 2 enemies in the water, one you've seen before while grabbing the sword, and one you've never seen before. The new one, a slime-type monster called a Slorm, is likely to see you while you're coming down the stairs, so you hurry down to defeat it. It attacks by spinning and can very quickly kill you, despite the iframes, because you can't roll or sprint while you're in the water. It also doesn't get staggered when you attack it. Very few enemies don't get staggered, but we'll get to that later. The Slorm then explodes when you kill it, but it's pretty obvious about that, so it doesn't bother me much. Right after you kill the Slorm and the Moblin-like monster, you get a shield. So here's my question. Why not put the Slorm further away and allow the player to note the qualities of the water prior to fighting it, also giving them a way to counter it via the shield? Why was it chosen to introduce the Slorm, then the properties of the water, then a way to counter it? It's so baffling that something so obviously bad made it into the demo. I also want to point out that walking in water is very slow, since you can't sprint and you have to navigate through it a lot. It's really frustrating. You can't even fall down ledges to make it to the stairs through the water faster. Later in the dungeon, you see a group of skulls on the ground, ones that would normally just be a set piece, and they come alive into weird bat things that flick you with their tail things. I like this. It's subversion. It teaches you to keep you on your toes. Right afterward, guarding a chest, there's a much larger horde of them too. Now to what really matters most to me, and what they get wrong. The combat. For a game like this, the aesthetic can be incredible, the exploration can be rewarded amazingly, the art can be beautiful, and the music can be the best you've ever heard, but if the combat isn't fun, there's really not much of a point to it. There are very few iframes, far too few to be useful, which would mean that positioning would be more important than dodging, but enemies discourage that by having insanely far-reaching attacks or attacks that encircle them completely. The stamina taking forever to recharge exacerbates this problem extensively. The roll itself is super floaty and catapults you way too far and way too slowly. If it launched you way faster or way less distance, it would be fine, but as is, it just feels floaty and loose. Attacks sometimes pass through your shield entirely. It's inconsistent and infuriating. Enemies that are about to attack flash purple to signify the attack is coming, but there are some attacks where the flash just doesn't happen. Mainly the big blue moblin looking guy in the well's a stab attack. Enemies will chase you to the ends of the earth as soon as they see you. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's worth mentioning. There seems to be a sort of parry or perfect guard, but it only happens when your attack is blocked and you recover just in time. Maybe my timing is just bad, but I didn't even notice a difference in the block. Most enemies in the demo, the normal and big slimes, the quill shooters, the moblin type enemies, the flying skulls, they all stagger, but there are a couple that break that trend. The giant moblin not staggering makes sense, and maybe the bone guy too, but we'll get to him. My problem is with the Slorms. Why the heck don't the Slorms stagger without the shield, especially when their attack could kill you outright if you're in the water? There's an enemy you can fight as soon as you get the sword by cutting a few bushes. It's the big skeleton thing, and the road to it is covered in caution blockades, which are used elsewhere to block off parts of the demo, but these ones can be squeezed past. I can only assume that this is meant to signify that this portion is meant to be the hardest part of the demo, but with how early you can get here, the blockades can easily just be assumed to be set dressing. That's what I assumed them to be at first anyway, given the giant skeleton monster. This enemy exemplifies everything wrong with the combat in this demo. You can be hit by the hilt of its weapon while it's priming its attack, the attacks can go completely over your shield, you can dodge clean through the swing of an attack, but it can hit you a second time because of how wide it swings, the slam attack goes deceptively far and is followed up by a swing, you can dodge, still be in the roll animation, and still be hit by the slam. He's not even that much easier with a shield because of the aforementioned attacks going over the shield and how much stamina is taken away every time you get hit by him. The game isn't too hard, it's just annoying. The final room with the big moblin and the two little ones is probably the hardest part of the demo, and that only took me a couple of tries. I kept throwing myself at the big skeleton as soon as I saw him, with only a stick and a sword, and that took me maybe 5 tries. It's not crushingly difficult or anything, it's just annoying that these problems exist at all. There's no good way to consistently play the game, and the enemies vary widely in how fun they are to fight. There are games I like a lot without good combat mechanics, like Ocarina of Time for example, because the combat isn't annoying or inconsistent. I'm really hoping I'm getting the point I'm trying to across, but either way, this game does have problems. I really want to like this game. It's charming, it's cute, the music bops, but it's just not there. I hope these complaints are addressed in the final game, but I honestly don't have my hopes up. Though, I will say, for as much as I harped on the bad decisions, I enjoyed my time in this game enough to properly find all the secrets, so that's worth something. I wouldn't recommend this game unless you can look past some BS and really like exploring. I would probably love this game if it didn't have the problems I mentioned, but as is, it's not great. It has the potential, but it's not quite there. As for the changes I suggested, maybe the game is balanced around exactly how it is now, and changing anything would make it so the developers' intentions aren't fully realized, or would require an overhaul of certain designs, but there are definitely still problems I have with the game. Alright, this is the outro. I'm off script now. There were a couple things that I forgot to mention when writing the script. There are minor things that don't matter as much, but I still want to mention them. For one, the entire screen flashing red when you're at low health is infuriating. I don't understand why games do it. It just makes it harder to see. It makes me more likely to die. Like, come on, dude. And also, the prompts being set by default to no, especially with the whole fake language thing. I don't understand. Why would you do that? It's like, it makes players less likely to choose the yes option, I feel like. Anyway, especially when it's some random thing on the ground that you can't tell what it is, when it's a slip of paper. It explains the controls, but not unless you pick it up. Anyway, so thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I really, really hope that the game gets better before it comes out. I really want to like this game. I love you all, and I don't know how to end this.